Hey there, it's Adrian. I'm the founder of Groundhogg. You are about to watch a customer call, a specialized training call that we do live a couple times a month with our customers. If you'd like to participate in these calls live, make sure that you sign up for a license. Any of these licenses, any of our paid plans will get you into the calls. You are free to participate and ask questions during those calls, some of which are included in this recording. And don't forget that if you found this recording useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Enjoy. Okie dokie. Hello, everyone. This is Adrian, founder of Groundhogg, doing a customer training session today. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this session today. We're covering everything that has to do with email surveys. And email surveys are super fun ways of collecting information about your contacts, being able to segment them in the right bucket, and create some nifty automation surrounding interactions with emails. You've probably seen email surveys before. They come in many forms. Maybe you got an email from us at one point that requested you click something in order to leave feedback. For example, maybe that star 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star rating systems. Like, how would you rate our service out of 5 stars? And then you click on the star. Or some of our more larger emails, like our email is hard series, have little links at the bottom that says, I really like this email. I didn't really much care for the email, or I felt neutral about the email. And that lets us know sort of how our emails are being consumed and performing and everything. And so that's what we're going to look at today. So I've got WordPress spun up here. So I've got Groundhogg open. So in order to do email surveys the most effectively, you're going to need a couple of things. Number one, you're going to need Groundhogg. Number two, you're going to have the advanced features add-on. If you don't know what that is, that's okay. You can go to extensions and you can go ahead and you can install advanced features, which just looks at that. And what advanced features does is it gives us this really cool feature called Superlinks. Now, Superlinks are very, very, very important to the whole email survey process. They are our special tracking links that allow us to either apply tags or edit custom fields to keep track of people's feedback. And that's sort of the most important part. So what we're going to do is number one, we have to create a survey or create the UI of a survey in an email. I have an example here, which I'm going to show you sort of like where we're going, and then I'll start from scratch. So what we want to do, here we go. So we have an email that has a bunch of content, some blog posts, whatever. And right at the bottom, we ask this question, how did this email make you feel? And this is sort of like our root base sort of typical survey. How do you feel reading this or consuming this content or whatever? And you could replace this emojis with words. You can replace it whatever. And essentially, the way that this works is that each of these emojis has a different link, a different super link attached to it. So if I click on this one, you can see that it's the great super link, and then this one is good, neutral, poor, and then bad. And then those are our sort of different groups, our different, that's our metric scope. I can't really think of like a better way to describe it, but that's what we're tracking is feelings into those different five different categories. Bad, poor, neutral, good, great. Pretty straightforward. And when you click on one of these links, if I go look at our super links, you can see that we have a super link for each different category, each different option: bad, poor, neutral, good, great. And if I edit one of those super links, what we're doing is we're updating a custom field called email feeling, and we're setting that essentially just to the emoji that they clicked in that email. And that's going to update a custom field in the contact record. So if I go to a contact record and I created a tab called feedback and survey, which is where we're storing all this information, and we have that email feeling, which is just one of those emojis. And then how do we actually report on this information? The final step in this whole thing is going to the reporting, and we have a custom report where we can go ahead and we can create either a pie chart or a table based on that email feeling, which currently has no information in it because nobody has that email feeling. So let's just go add one here, save changes, and then we'll go ahead and refresh the report. And we can see how many people appreciate that email, how many people didn't like it, et cetera, et cetera. So that's sort of the scope of how the Groundhogg way of doing email surveys looks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the beginning. We're going to start from scratch. Start with creating our email. Then we're going to go create our superlinks. We're going to create our custom fields, and then we're going to finish off with creating the report. I do think I'm going to probably go with the example that is shown here, which is sort of like these 5 different options. But you are not limited to using emojis, and you're not certainly not limited to using just sort of 5 options. You can create surveys using this exact same template for pretty much any kind of survey. Like you might have seen one from Groundhogg asking you what CRM you were using before switching to Groundhogg, like Keep, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, etc. And if you clicked any of those links, it would update a custom field in your profile saying switched from, and then we can use that internally as a report to see, all right, where's our biggest pull from other CRMs in terms of people switching to Groundhogg. So there's lots of different opportunities and use cases to use this for. So I think the best place to start off is probably going through A, creating our custom field, B, creating our super links, C, adding those super links to an email template, and then D, going and creating that custom report. So let's start off in the contact record. And you obviously want to create a custom tab for wherever you want to keep track of that survey custom field. Go through the custom field creation process, and I'm just going to re-add the field for the sake of brevity. And I'm going to call it email feedback is going to be my custom field. I can use a drop down in order to keep track. And I am going to, instead of emojis, I'm going to do text simply because that way it's a little bit easier for people to follow along. So we have great, we've got good, we've got neutral, we've got poor, and we got bad. So those are our options. You don't have to use a drop down. You can use any kind of field type if you want, because you can, in the super link, update the custom field to any value that you want from the link. So there's lots of different ways that you can do this. I'm just using a drop down because it gives it a little bit more structure, especially if you're coming back to the contact record and you're using the same options all the time. If you're doing a survey like I do with Groundhogg for collecting what CRM you switched from, you might want to just use a text field because there's hundreds of CRMs and you're not going to create a drop down for every single one, right? So ours is just a text field, and then the Superlink updates it depending on which one you click. So we'll go ahead and create that, and now we have a custom field. Great, good, neutral, poor, bad, etc. All right, so that's step 1. Step 2. Go to our superlinks, and we have to now create superlinks for each of these options. So let's go ahead and click add new, and we're going to call it email feedback. And because, you know what, let's go ahead and delete all these ones because they're going to look the same otherwise. There we go. Add new, email feedback. We have great, which is our first one. And then we have to have a place, because when you click a super link, you have to actually go somewhere. Like there has to be a target page. So that might just be like a page on your website that's like /feedback. I'm just going to use the sample page because this is just an example, but on Groundhogg, we have this page. This is our feedback page. So whenever you click a survey link, it goes here. And it's like, thanks for the feedback. And that could update. So you might want to create something like that for your super links. So going back here, we have that redirect page. And then you have the option to add or remove tags if you want to. But because we're using a custom field, that's the minimum thing that we have to do. So we can go ahead and type in email feedback. That is our custom field. and then we set the value to whatever the corresponding value in our custom field would be for that option. In this case, since we're doing great, this one's great. Go ahead and save changes. And then we basically do this for each of those options. So now we got to do email feedback, good, create link, email feedback, good, and then redirect to our sample page or our feedback page, wherever we're sending them. Add another one. Two more to go. So we have poor left and bad left. There we go. Last one. Oh, wrong place. All right, so now we have our super links, 5 super links for our 5 options. Now we go to our email that we want to add this survey to. And we need to actually create the experience that people are going to have within the email. So let's go ahead and I'll start a new email from scratch. And we're just going to use our simple framed one, call it email survey. And we are going to add our links. And so I am going to do this using buttons. That's what I'm going to do. So since we have 5 options, we need 5 columns for 5 buttons. There's no 5 column option, but there is a custom widths column option. So what we're going to do is we are going to use that, which is this last one here. Custom column widths, we can create a 5 column layout where their widths are auto set. And we can just start dragging in our buttons. And so we have a button for bad. And then we have a button for poor. Got one for neutral. Got one for good. And we got one for great. Like that. And then you can, or we'll just mess with the colors a little bit to, or what's it? Maybe, oh, somewhere in there. Maybe there we go. We'll change the text color. All right, so there's our survey. Bad, poor, neutral, good, great. And as you can probably guess at this point, now it's a matter of going and grabbing that super link and putting it into the corresponding button. So let's go ahead and we can just tab over to our super links. You have the option of either using the replacement code or you can use the source URL. I'm just going to use the source URL. Copy that. Come back to our email and stick this in the button link. And we do that for each of our options. Like so. Now we look at the preview. There we go. We can see that's linking in the bottom left-hand corner there to each of the corresponding super links. Fairly straightforward. So now when you send this email, it gets merged, or the super link gets converted into a tracking link. And that tracking link is going to automatically update the contact record with the custom field information associated with said super link. So we can go ahead and we can click Great ourselves here, and that's going to bring us to the sample page. And if we go to our contact record, feedback and survey, our email feedback custom field is now great. Isn't that great? So easy. And now, last step is we want to be able to report on this survey. So go to reporting, go to custom, where we can add our custom reports. Click on any of the plus icons anywhere to add your custom report. We want to, you can either select pie chart or table. Either of those will work for this application. And then we type in the name of our custom field, which is email feedback, just like so. And this will be our email survey report. Save. And we can see that my one response there of great now shows. Awesome. And so there's a couple of other things that we can do to make this a little bit more interesting. Now, the thing about the email feedback is that this is going to show sort of all-time feedback. It's not going to show like a date range. So maybe you only want to see feedback within the last period of X many days or X many months or what or something like that. And so there's a cool way using flows that we can filter this report to basically only do it for people that have recently filled out or completed the survey. So I'm going to go to flows and I'm going to add a new flow. And I'm going to start from scratch. And I'm going to call it email. I'm going to call it track email feedback activity. And what we're going to use is we are going to use our field changed trigger, also part of the advanced features add-on. And we're going to say whenever the email feedback custom field is changed. So if they click that link, it's going to update the value of that custom field, and we are going to track that their feedback changed. And so we can come here. We can then go ahead and click or create a new action. New custom activity is what we want. And then we can call it something arbitrary, like gave email feedback is going to be our thing, our sort of activity, our activity ID. And then we can even go ahead and we can track what feedback they gave using our custom field, email feedback, not that one, email feedback. And so now we're tracking a custom activity. So this will actually show up in their activity timeline. So you can see a visual representation of when they gave that feedback. I mean, you'll also see that through the Superlinks. So this is kind of like doubling up data for this thing, but it helps for the purposes of using it in the report for time-based reporting. So we are now tracking that. We're tracking that gave email feedback activity. We can go ahead and activate this. And then in our report, we'll edit that. And in the filters, we are going to add a custom activity filter. We're going to use that gave email feedback ID. And then we can set our date range to the last 90 days and then save report. That's going to obviously wipe my information because we didn't have that set up yet. But now that report is only going to be filtered for anybody who filled out that survey within and only within the last 90 days. And you can go ahead and edit to tweak the report based on what sort of time period that you want to see. So how cool is that? That's pretty cool. And that is email surveys in Groundhogg in a nutshell. I am now going to open it up to Q&A from our attendants. So please raise your hand. You can use, I think there is a reactions method in Zoom. Otherwise, just go ahead and put in the chat that you have a question, and I'll ask you to come off mute and you can ask your question.
Hi, Adrian Zane here, Groundhogg user for a good while. Are you familiar, I'm sure you are, with the NPS survey?
I am familiar with the NPS survey, and actually, you will find if you go to flows and add new, there is a net promoter score flow template.
Yes, and I used it yesterday, and it's similar to what you've got here. Very
Very similar. It's
similar.
the same
Yeah.
concept. Yeah.
I did drop out 1 to 10, and I just went 1, 2, 3. So one was loved it, two it was okay, three it was not great. So my question is there were link clicks inside of those versus super links, and what is the difference?
So the link clicked trigger here, um, essentially is only useful in the context of a flow, whereas the super link can be used anywhere on the website. So let's say that you have a membership site and people are logging into the website and they're clicking stuff in your admin. You can use a super link simply on your website, like in your menu, in your whatever, in your account area, and whether or not they're in a flow, whether or not whatever, that tracking link, that super link is going to work and apply tags and do their custom fields and stuff. Whereas the link click is only useful in the usage within a flow specifically. So like through emails or text messages that they're getting through the flow because it requires that sort of tracking information. Does that make sense?
It does. Perfect. Thank you. So a follow-up to that is from there it goes to a submit form.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that I can capture, let's say it's loved it, and I have a score of 1 on
Yeah.
that it carries that in and pre-selects the one item in the survey form so the person already has it pre-selected and he just types in his feedback?
So yes. If so what you want to do is in the case of that, when you're editing the form and there's an advanced tab, what you want to do is in the value section, you want to put the custom field. So whatever the custom field is for the NPS score, right? You're going to want to put that custom field there. And that will, sorry, that didn't do it. NPS. There we go. So if you do that, you put the custom fields, whatever the field is, that should populate it.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. Thank you. That's awesome.
All right. You're welcome. Everybody say thanks, Zane. Uh, any other questions?
Hi, my name is Michael. Kind of a beginner Groundhog user myself. We'd like to send out customer surveys for every report we send out, so the contacts would have multiple requests. Like the same contact would have multiple reports throughout the month.
Okay.
So is there a way to differentiate that for each job that we send out or each report that we send out?
Yeah. So that would be like that's where I would come in and use this sort of flow where when so the sort of the most recent report that they had that gets saved into a custom field, but every time that custom field is updated, you're tracking an individual activity that is the report that they gave for that request. And that way you have a historical record of each survey answer that they gave. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Thank
this
you.
so this is specifically the answer that I would go ahead and do that for. There's a and you could expand this to like let's say you wanted to just pull the reports of a specific survey like or if you're just doing like a specific survey for like if you want to pull like the month, then if you're doing this, then in the reporting, where's the reporting? I'll have to go back and open it. Like if you want to just see, all right, I want to see April, right? I want to see the report for April specifically. If you're doing that method, then you do exactly what I showed, which is you come to the survey and then you filter it by that feedback and then you set the date between and then you do the month of April. So April 1st to April 30th.
Excellent.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank
Fantastic.
you.